I used to kill every single orchid I got. Every single one of them died. I didn't know what I was doing wrong. I absolutely adore orchids, and here in South Florida, they grow and thrive on trees. And I thought, goodness, if they can thrive on the outside, I gotta figure out how to take care of them on the inside. So I did a lot of trial and error, a lot of research, and not only can I keep them alive now, I can get them to rebloom, which I'm so excited about. So that is why I'm doing this video. I want to teach you how to take care of orchids. And the cool thing is, it's actually a lot easier than what you would think, because they're not as delicate as what you would think. Okay, so first thing is first, I actually have 3 orchids here in different states in order to teach you how to take care of them. So we have this one here that's a little parched, so I'm gonna teach you how you can tell if it's parched and what to do about that. This one lost all of its blooms and it's ready to be cut down. And then this one is perfectly healthy. So we're gonna start with the perfectly healthy one first. But first, coffee. I make a good homemade mocha. Maybe one day I'll do a video about that. So starting with this basic orchid, I'm just gonna show you the basics in watering them, because really watering them is key. The thing is, orchids actually need a lot more water than what you would think. So you hear the ice cube tricks, don't do the ice cubes. Don't put one, don't put a few, like just don't even do the ice cubes. You don't need to. So what you wanna do when you get your orchid home is take it out of its pot. This one is really cool. It actually kind of has 3 pots. See, it has a decorative one and then one with sphagnum moss that is damp. And then you have the actual orchid pot itself. Now, transplanting this orchid is a completely different story, and attaching it to a tree is a different story. So if you're interested in learning how to attach an orchid to a tree, let me know, because I have a couple out front and they are thriving and they just have a lot of blooms on them right now. And I think that the blooms even last longer when they're on a tree. But anyways, so you want to take it out, get it down to its little plastic pot. This one has some, oh man, what's this moss called? Spanish moss. This one has Spanish moss on it. A lot of Spanish mosses in Florida. And then in order to water it, let me put this over there, you want to thoroughly soak it. So I'm gonna turn on the water, cold water, and just soak it. I'm gonna show you, just like this. Soak it all around. Give it a really good, just really thorough soak. And the way I figured this out, well, I'll tell you in a second. Okay, so now this has been thoroughly soaked. So what you want to do is, after you thoroughly soak it, is let it drip dry. So you can put it on your counter, you can put it on your sink, you can put it in a saucer. Just put it in something to where it can drip dry. And when it's done dripping, you are good to go. And it's good to do this about once a week. Now your climate might affect this. So if you're like in a really dry climate, you might want to do it twice per week. You're gonna have to play with it to find out. But the key here when you water it is give it a really good thorough soak all around, to where when it'll either be in moss or wood chips, and make sure you feel like that moss and wood chips are thoroughly wet. And then once you do that, let it drip dry, put it back, you're good to go. But one of the keys when it comes to this is, see in here, right here, this is like the center part of there. Just don't leave water in here. It's not good if you leave water in there. That will help kill your orchid, and you don't want to do that. If you get water in there, not a big deal. Just take like a paper towel and boop, that's it. You know, so not a big deal. Just don't put water in here. Make sure you thoroughly soak it all the way around. See, this is already drip dried. So now I'm gonna put it back, and that's it. Now what I also do is I use this Miracle Grow orchid fertilizer, and it's in a spray, so it's like really convenient. So when I first get it home, I will go ahead after I water it and give it a good spray. And I do this probably about once a month whenever I think it needs it. You can even do this every time you water it. It's totally fine. And I just like get it down in there, and that's it. It's good to go. I mean, if you want, I guess you could even water it in there a little bit. But that's what I do, and that's it. That's how you take care of an orchid. So now let me share with you how to take care of an orchid after it has bloomed and then lost all of its blooms. What do you do in that circumstance? So I'm gonna put this guy back. Oh, put the moss back on him. And the reason why I discovered this method of watering orchids is because, like I said, they live in trees here in Florida, and Florida is very moist. So when orchids are outside, it gathers its moisture from like the environment. It rains constantly here in the summertime. It rains like almost every day in the summertime. So I thought, goodness, they're getting water like every day, yet they're not dying, right? So that's how I kind of put 1 and 2 together, and I was like, wait a second, I need to water mine more, and that's what happened. Okay, so this orchid is doing great, but you can tell that it lost all of its blooms. So what do you do in this situation after it loses all of its blooms? Well, this one needs to be watered, so let me go ahead and water it. Okay, so now that this one's all watered, I'm still gonna go ahead and fertilize it. It's pretty much already done. Okay, so now let me get my clippers. So now what you do when it loses its blooms is you want to snip it above the first or second node. It depends on how close they are, I think, but this one's really close down there, so I'm going to snip it. And the reason why you want to snip it is because this will eventually turn yellow and really gross and be kind of useless, because when it goes to grow back and bloom again, it will just do a new shoot. So it won't bloom off of this one. It will just grow a new one and bloom there. So you really don't need this anymore. So that's why we're gonna go ahead and cut it off. Now, to be extra safe, to prevent against diseases, you take some alcohol and sterilize your clippers. So that's what I'm gonna do. I should put this in like a cup, but oh well. Okay. We're gonna take off the support. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Emma's taking a nap right now, so I'm trying to talk loud, but at the same time, not wake her up. Okay, so we're gonna take this out. Perfect. Okay, let me see. Let me bring it closer. Okay, see, this is the first node. So I'm gonna cut it right here. Done. We did it. You could just throw this away. So all that will get thrown away, and now you're left with this. So like I said, eventually I'm gonna put this one in a tree, but for now I'll probably set it on top of a book, or set it on top of some books or something. And you know what? I even think orchids without the stem look really pretty on their own. Like, I still think that this looks pretty and I like it. So I don't mind this sitting around in my house. Okay, so that one's all ready. Now, let me share with you how to take care of one that is parched and how to know if it's parched. Okay, so the way you can tell if an orchid needs water or not, and ideally you don't want it to get to this state before you realize it needs water. It's better just to keep up on the watering before it gets like this. But see how these leaves are very pliable? That's how you know, okay? The leaves are supposed to be stiff, kind of like this. Like, see how this is pretty stiff, like it's hard to bend. Same thing with this one over here. Like this is it's pretty stiff. It's very firm. It's not easily bendable. But when it's easily bendable, like that's very flexible, that means it needs water and it's parched. Another way to tell, let me turn around to show you, is that see how it's kind of, I don't know what the word is. Some people use the word puckered, but it's not smooth. It has like this bumpy texture to the leaf, when really the leaf is supposed to be smooth like this one. See how it's glossy, stiff, and smooth? That's how you know it's a well-watered orchid. I should probably take the sticker off. Okay, this one, however, is more bumpy and flexible. Okay, needs water. This isn't just like it needs water, it's like it's very parched. This is, I don't know, it might be a little controversial. I'm not like an orchid expert. I'm just a homeowner that likes orchids and a gardener and a hobby gardener. And so this is just what I've learned and figured out. And that is, you need to set it in water until it comes back. I know it seems counterintuitive. Everyone's like, no, don't let your orchid sit in water. I just said when you water it, let it drip dry, put it back. You know, however, when you have kind of a borderline sick orchid like this and it really needs water, and the leaves are this flexible, you need to set it in water and let it sit in that water until the leaves come back and they're stiff again. And that might take a few days. I watered this guy earlier, and you can tell it, you know, the leaves didn't come back. This has no hole in the bottom, so I'm gonna add a bunch of cold water to it. Yep. And I'm just gonna let it sit in that water. Okay, once again, don't let the water go past, let me come around, okay. Don't let the water go past the base, okay? Keep it below that. Put it in here and we're just gonna let it sit. We're just gonna let it sit, and then I'm gonna check on it tonight. I'll check on it tomorrow, and if the water gets really yellow, I might dump it out and put fresh water in there, but I'm gonna keep it in here until the leaves come back and are stiff like this. And it's worked for me every time. So that's how you take care of an orchid that's parched. So the next thing, or the last thing I really want to talk about, is the sunlight. Where do you keep it in your home? Don't put it in a room without windows. Don't put it in a room where it gets direct sunlight through the window. Just put it in an area, in a bright room in your house, and it will do just fine. And the same goes for outside too. So when they're outside, you want to make sure it's shaded. The more shaded, the better. What I'm going to do with mine is keep this one out, eventually put it in the tree. I'm gonna put this one in our living room because I wanna be able to enjoy it out here for us to see and look at. And then I'm gonna put this one in Emma's room. She really enjoys it, and orchids are actually edible. You can actually eat the flowers of most orchids, which is really interesting. So I just think it adds a touch of whimsy and beauty to her room. So I'll link this below, and in case you're interested, but go get you an orchid, try it out. Let me know if you have any success or if it works, but this is what I do, and it's really been working for me, so I really hope that you find it useful as well. Before I let you go, I just wanted to say thank you to those of you who saw my backyard garden tour video. I got a really great response from that, so I just wanted to say thank you for that and let you know that we actually did end up replanting the fig tree in a bigger pot, and it's much happier. So I might insert a little footage of that in here, but thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon in the next video.